Have I ever told you the story about like the most embarrassed I've ever seen Scott?
Oh, I
No.
want to hear this.
So like I don't know, you guys know that like Scott like really did not like to embarrass himself, and a lot of the times he would double down on it to make it seem like he wasn't
Yeah.
embarrassed or that it like wasn't as bad as it actually was. And so we had gone to Cooperstown, New York to wrestle, and we flew out of Seattle and we parked the car at the cheapest parking Scott could find, which meant we had to take a shuttle bus like maybe 20 minutes away. So we get to the shuttle bus location, we get back to the car, and we're putting everything in, we get inside, start driving, and Scott goes, "Where's my phone?"
Oh no.
And we're like, "What do you mean, where's your phone?" He's like, "Where did I put my phone?" And we're like, "Oh, maybe it's in the trunk, like maybe we accidentally packed it." And so he pulls over to the side of the road, he gets out, he looks through the back, and he goes, "Where's my bag?" And we're like, "What do you mean, where's your bag?" And he goes, "Oh, I think I left it at the place, like at the terminal where all of the shuttle buses pick us up." And they're like,
Oh, God.
So it was during the brief, I don't know, 5-year period where Scott had a regular day job, and he had left his work phone, his work tablet, his personal cell phone, and his iPod in the bag. Scott drove the fastest anyone has ever driven in the history of man. Super dangerous. We get to the terminal. He illegally drives into where all the shuttle buses are supposed to pick you up. We pull up to where we were, and it was just sitting there.
Oh my
And luckily,
God.
like nobody had called in like a bomb
Yeah.
threat or like a suspicious
Yeah.
bag. So I jump out of the car, I get it, I put it back in the car, and then he's silent, right? Because he's like
Yeah.
really embarrassed that he did that, but
Yeah.
he was like happy that he didn't lose everything.
Yeah.
So we continue to drive all the way back up home, and we go to a gas station that we usually go to when we go back home. And we go inside, we buy junk food, whatever. We come back outside, get in the car. A cop car pulls up behind us into the pump behind us to fill up. And we drive away, and Scott slams on the brakes, and he just stops for a second. And we're like, "What happened?" And he goes, "I can't believe what I just did." And we're like, "What?" And he goes, "I drove away with the pump in the car." And
Oh my
so
God.
he gets out in front of a police officer, and of course the hose has detached, right? Because they're designed to break away.
Yeah.
The
That's
hose
crazy.
the hose detached. It's hanging out of the car. He goes and gets it out, and the police officer looks at him and goes, "Hey, having a rough day?" And he goes, "Yeah." So this like really like shoulders slumped forward. He picks it up. He walks into the gas station and has to go, "I'm sorry I did this." And the guy's like, "Oh, it's okay. It happens all the time." And he goes, So he gets back
okay,
into
you're
the
white.
car. And Kelly and I made fun of him nonstop for like a year about that. And then he very stupidly told us, "I did it again like 4 weeks later in Vancouver."
Wow.
And we're like, "What? You did it again?" He's like, "Yeah, I pulled away without taking the pump out." And he goes, I'm like, "Well, I don't know why you would tell us that. That's the dumbest thing you could have done." But then there would be several times we would be back in Washington driving home, and one of myself or Kelly would say, "Oh, I took the pump out for you." And you go, "Oh, okay, thanks." And then he would get in the car and realize we hadn't.
Oh, no.
And he goes, "I'm never believing you guys again." But then there'd be times where he would believe us again. He never did it, like pulled away with it in the car, but there would be lots of times where we would tell him, yeah, no, we took it out for you." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And then he goes, "Oh, why do I listen to you guys?" We're like, "Because we want you to embarrass yourself and so we can make fun of you and laugh at you more." And he goes, "Yeah, I get it." But couldn't believe he did it twice and admitted to it the second time around.